My name is Jonathan Comstock. I'm a resident of Caroline and a landowner. I live up on Bald Hill School Road. And the extraction of natural gas from shale rock is a massive industrial effort. And should it come to Caroline, it holds the potential of transforming the community more rapidly and more dramatically than most of us can even imagine. The town should be doing everything in its power to prepare itself for all aspects of this impact, and nothing could be more appropriate at this stage than a broad discussion and assessment of the opinions of all Caroline residents. The resolution put forward by Linda Adams and Pete Hoyt, however, has the sole purpose of defining limits and constraints on the range of actions that the town will allow itself in responding to the myriad challenges that gas drilling will present. It does not protect the town. It does not help to deal with the challenges of regional gas development. It does not do anything constructive for the town. It insists the town must stick to the barest minimum of all possible actions. In my opinion, this is reckless and ill-advised leadership. The resolution does not even advance any of the limited avenues it leaves open. The only thing that this resolution does is enable the town board to ignore the anticipated majority opinion among Caroline residents. I volunteered and helped throughout the fracking ban petition process. Dozens of Caroline residents have already spent months circulating this petition, and citizens in favor of a ban have outnumbered pro-drilling responses by about 4 to 1. There are more signatures on this petition than on any other previous petition in the history of the town, I believe. We've been reporting to the town board on its progress for several weeks now. And 1 minute, okay. I just want to say we have knocked on almost every door in town at this point, at least once. Some of them many times. And our efforts to find everybody at home are still ongoing. It is, for many people, most people sign right away or express their negative opinion right away. Maybe a third of the people are uncertain, and we have had a lot of very detailed and documented and cited literature that we have left. We have come back to many of these homes multiple times, giving people time to talk to their own friends, look at other sources, before they make their decision to sign. So we've been as energetic as we can at making this an educational process for the whole community. And if you pass this resolution without having done anything, even remotely similar to this, this is a resolution coming out of the blue, which accomplishes nothing except setting limitations. I think that I personally would find it deeply insulting. I think other members of the town will feel the same way. It is an anti-democratic purpose, and if you pass it, you will need to answer to your constituents, whose opinions you seek to dismiss without debate, and whose trust you will have betrayed.
Leanne Avery should come forward.
Hi, my name's Bert Cooley. I've been a resident of Caroline for 38 years. Most of my other concerns and questions have been presented by other people that have gone before me, but I do have 2 questions for the board. One, when was this resolution drafted and added to the agenda? It was not mentioned in the May 3rd agenda minutes.
Someone want to respond? No?
Yeah, sure. It was added on the June 7th, when we go tonight. And, typically what we do is we put things on the agenda on the first monthly meeting for consideration on the business meeting.
Okay, so I didn't see those minutes online yet.
Well, because we can't get them until we approve them, and we approve them following. And I realize now the insensitivity of that. I wasn't anticipating that, but I think you're right. That there should have been.
The other question then goes to every board member or any other town officer that's here. I would like to see by a show of hands anybody who has an active lease or has in process of talking about a lease or has an association with the Tompkins Landowners Coalition. And if anybody does raise their hand, I would like them to explain to me how that is not in violation of Section 3, paragraph E of the town's code of ethics?
Because it's public information.
I'd like to go on. I would wait the
Would you like, do you have that paragraph in front of you?
No, I don't. I don't think I
Would you like me to read it to you?
No. I would just like an opportunity to just speak for a minute, please.
So let me get you a mic.
Thank you, Peter. Well, don't thank me till you hear what I got to say. In 2007, I signed a lease. I've got 16 acres out in Slaterville, right along 6 Mile Creek. And the landman came along, and I figured they'd never drill close to there, and I could pick up about $3,000 for signing the lease. Are you people able to hear me okay? Okay. So that's why I signed it. I also got them to put in a little thing there where they would not do the surface thing, and they didn't object to that because I knew they wouldn't want to drill anywhere near that close to Slaterville Springs. A conflict of interest never occurred to me, but it was mentioned here tonight, and I think it is a legitimate observation. I'm kind of surprised I didn't think of it. And, well, guys, I'm just telling you the truth, okay? I've got to think about where that stands. I mean, I've kind of got a dual responsibility here. I've got people who I represent. I feel very strongly on the landowners' rights, as everybody knows, I think. And yet I also feel very strongly on conflict of interest. I also feel very strongly on home rule. I thought I was going to have 2 things clashing in my head tonight. It looks like I've got at least 3 things clashing in my head now. This is not easy. Certainly on the, I understand about the appearance of conflict of interest, and there certainly does seem to be an appearance there. I think I could probably waste the time arguing that it would be a minuscule amount, but that's really not relevant.
Goes also to the code of ethics, which is.
I'm not debating with you there. I mean, I'm saying that I think you raised a legitimate concern. I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I've got to think about that. This is all very new to me. Through my own ignorance or naivete, it never occurred to me. Honestly, never did. I guess that's what I got to say about the whole conflict of interest thing. I can't think of anything else to say right now.
You want to lose that mic up there? Anybody else answer my question? Sure. If nobody else answered my question.
It's my understanding of conflict of interest that it's an issue if it's not public record. I know when Bill and his group mapped the area, though the map isn't 100%, you could get a pretty good idea who was leased and who was not. So it's public record, both in the records office and also it's out on the internet. My family is not leased. We have 25 acres. We're a similar situation to many of you. We're surrounded by neighbors that did lease. So, you know, we're looking at options for what someone could do going forward. I did indeed get neighbors together so that in the future, when these leases end and people have an opportunity to get a new lease, that they, for the first time in their life, aren't signing a gas company lease. It's something that the community put together, that the landowners had drafted for their purposes, not the industry. So that's my story.
I'll take it.
My name is Toby McDonald. I do have property leased. My lease is up on the 17th of July next month. I had not thought of this as a conflict of interest. I will find out if it is, and if it is, I will act accordingly.
Thank you.
As the remaining property owner on the board, my name is Don Barber. I have 65 acres. I have not leased. I have no intention of leasing and giving up the rights. I am a landlord. I know what it's like to lease your property to someone else. I have no intention of giving up those rights.
Just a quick follow-up. So, Don, then will you be following through on the Code of Ethics where it says that these interests have to be made part of the official public record for this resolution? It's the way I interpret it.
Sure.
Thank you.
They've made it public, they've made it.
Has to be part of the official public record in the town as far as tied to the resolution, not something that someone goes to look up on the internet.
Gotcha.
Do you follow the difference? Thank you.
So, James Bertlick should come forward. If any of you feel you can shorten what you have to say, it would be great because we have more people signed up than we are going to get to by 10. So, you're on.
Thank you. My name is Mary Alice Kobler. I'm a 20-year small farmer. We grow a lot of what we eat and we give a lot away too. I was just dismayed to see that how many people come from work to go to the food bank and how many people, if that fracking comes, are not going to be able to afford their food, their lower rents, their gas. And that really moves me. We bring boatloads of fresh produce down to the food pantry, but I want my grandkids to be able to farm my land. That's where I'm coming from. And on your first meeting in May, I came to the board and I spoke to you about helping us to ban intensive industrial development that did not go along with the comprehensive plan. I also asked you to write a letter to go along with the Caoline folks that had signed another petition to address public comment on the draft management of Shindagan Hollow Forest that was accepting citizen and certainly town board input on whether that should be open to gas and oil exploration. That apparently did not seem like something that you were interested in doing. I can't believe that this resolution, it just follows on. There were 3 people speaking to you about the petition. And all of a sudden, this resolution comes up, and people got hold of it, and we really ran with it, and it filled the room. But that was like 1 month that you were going to give for that. It's not okay. We feel frozen out of your discussion. We don't agree with it, and we want it to be dropped. I also want to speak about the petition drive. There were old ladies like me that feel like even if the people don't own the land, they get to have their say. They live in the town of Caoline. In our meeting, we spoke, don't try to talk anybody in and out of anything. Just try to give this information, give them a chance to sign the petition and give them hope that maybe we can stop this. The wolves are at the garden gate. Don't let them in. So, Mr. Tavelli, if you'd please check your facts. The person that came to you, those older folks, they still get, even if they're 80, they get a chance to give their voice. And it was one person who was older than me.
I will respond to you. I
Yes.
handed the board what I was handed. That's all.
Okay. Well, the person who got that petition signed was a woman about my age, single, by herself, carried on a conversation.
Them liars.
No, I'm not. It's a fact.
Mary Alice.
Thanks.
Elliot swore that.
Thank you. My name is Leanne Avery, and a number of people have already commented on it. I thought I had a big mouth. My husband says I do. Guess not. I agree with a lot of things that have been said, and I'm happy that people have raised the issue of conflict of interest and some of the language that was used prior, such as reasonable minds. Thank you for raising that. I could talk about being a landowner and loving Brooktondale. My ancestors are from here, and I drove by the land this evening and actually cried with fear of what's not the first time, what may come. And I love this area, like many people have said, but rather than talk about me, because that's not what you want to hear, what I do want to say is I'm very curious of how many people have gone to Bradford County or Dimock and visited the people and talked to them personally and held many conversations. I'm glad to see that, and I would invite all of the board to do the same. I've had many conversations, I know some of you have, with many people in Bradford County whose lives have been forever changed in lots of different ways. One thing I can share with you is many people said, like many of us here, live there because of the bucolic, beautiful rural nature of that area and this area, and that has been forever changed, and they are upset by that. Whether people are pro-drilling, anti-drilling, don't know, confused, scared, wherever they landed in Bradford County, one of the things they said, everyone said equally, is slow down in New York, have the moratorium, don't do what we did. If you're going to have a lease, get smart about it. Please don't hurry. We've made a lot of mistakes we cannot change. I've talked with people who didn't have a lot of money. I grew up poor, didn't have a lot of money. And they thought that they were going to have a change in their lives to be able to keep the family farm. Well, they still have the family farm, they have no money, and they have no clean drinking water. And no, the gas company is not providing them with clean water. And I think, yes, there are a few people that are going to get rich. But I invite you to go to Bradford County because it's so close and you can see firsthand what's happening. And people want us to come from New York. They want to share their stories. They want to be heard. So I would invite you to take that opportunity, because instead of listening to me or anyone with a bunch of titles after their name, whoever we're going to talk about, talk to the people who live it 24/7. I think that's where there's a lot of power in their voices. What I would end with is my stepfather, actually. He was a Teamster for a local 445. He was a truck driver. And for a while, he did a great job with a local company where I grew up in the Catskills. And many years ago, that company closed like they're doing today. He fortunately did get another job, but there were years we did without for quite a while. And he got to work for a very big company carrying polluted water. And he carried that polluted water for many years, and the company said it was fine. Well, my stepfather died at age 59. He never got to retire, and he had a work ethic like no one I've ever seen. So don't always believe what the big companies tell you. So if anything, remember that. And thank you for your time.
Should come forward. John Reed.
I'm James Burlage, 10-year resident of the town of Caroline, and I'm, if you don't mind, going to look at the board when I speak, because I want you to hear what I have to say. I strongly oppose this resolution, because if it passed, as many have said, it would slam the door shut on the grassroots petition to totally ban hydrofracking gas development in this town. 3 cities, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Wellsburg, West Virginia, Buffalo, New York, have already banned hydrofracking. The town of Otsego, New York, has enacted a similar ban, and as we've heard, other local towns are considering such bans. Some of these bans will undoubtedly be tested in court, but the residents of the town of Caroline must not be denied their right to promote a similar ban. Now, if the proponents of this resolution truly believed that the environmental conservation law referenced in the resolution was the last word on this matter, there would be no need for this resolution. But it has had an interesting effect. It has gotten your attention. And now I want you to drop it and get on with the serious matter that many have addressed. Get to the issues. Represent the people who elected you.
Robin Sisney.
Hi, I'm Elliot Swarthout. I'm a resident of Brooktondale with my wife. We're property owners in Dryden. We will not be leasing our land in Dryden simply for the fact that I am an oil field worker. Unlike probably most people here in this room, I have worked at hundreds of well pads across North America, and I see what happens there on a daily basis. So I will not lease our land. Sarah agrees with me. And I guess to the point is I really feel like this resolution that Adams has proposed is naive, that it is very short-sighted. Given what both lawyers have said tonight, it's a matter for debate, right? There's room for debate. But if you tie the hands of the town now in front of these multinational energy corporations, you're doomed. I've worked on sites where there have been huge national disasters, and I see what these companies can do, and they have unlimited resources at their beck and call. And if you are tying our hands now, I say your hands, it's our hands that you're tying, that's a huge mistake. So I would really like to see this proposal dropped.
Should come forward.
Hello, my name is John Reed. I'm a resident. I live in Brooktondale, and I'm a landowner. I support the home rule law, and I vote for that. I do not support the resolution. I feel we already have a long-term comprehensive plan. I feel that it ties our hands, and if we want to have the options to do any kind of decisions, we can do that without a resolution. Thank you.
Here? No, okay. So Frank, you're up, and John Confer, please come forward.
My name is Frank Barrett. I live on Old 76 Road. I've been a resident of Caoline for 14 years. I'm kind of in a unique situation because I grew up in the oil field, and I'm from Louisiana. And I saw a lady standing back here tonight saying your property values will be zero. However, I can bring you to several parishes in Louisiana where the property values have increased by over 100% and hydrofracking took place there. I'm also in a unique position that while I was in the oil field growing up, I removed myself from that particular vocation. I went to grad school, have degrees in chemistry, have degrees in zoology, have advanced degrees in ecology, and I worked in that field for multiple years for the Park Service. I am now back in the oil field, and I still work in ecology as well for the Humane Society and several other companies, organizations. One thing that I took from this meeting tonight is this. I'd like to see a raise. Everybody raise their hand that voted in the last election. Y'all voted for these people. Or you did not vote for these people. However, to say that democracy is not at work is not correct. We voted for these people, either for or against them. These are the people we voted to elect us, just like we voted our representatives and senators in Washington. They, at all times, have to weigh whether, say, Don and them, whether they have conflicts of interest. These people vote for their own retirement accounts. Is that not a conflict of interest? It is. To get back on the subject, I'm glad there is a large dialogue opened up. I'm not here a lot of the time. I'm in South America a lot of the time. And I work on Lake Maracaibo. Y'all have no idea what an environmental disaster really is. No clue. Y'all were not... You don't want to know. That's correct. You want to know. And a good example is the big Gulf disaster, the disaster we had in the Gulf on the horizon. If you went down there now and looked at how much fish they were catching and what it did to the shrimping industry, you'd be amazed at how resilient the environment can be. However, if you do contaminate an aquifer, that's not a bad deal. And I say this with one thing in mind. I have an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old daughter. And I want to see them grow old on land that I own right here. Okay? I work in the oil field. This gentleman said he'd been on 100 pads. I've been on over 1,000 pads in my lifetime. Submersibles, land rigs, drilling barges, jackups, you name it. I've been on them all. It's not necessarily the techniques. It's the people that do it and the companies that you get to come in and drill. Bradford County is a perfect example. It's the company, not the particular process. You got to get the right people to do the right job. You get clowns working, you get clown results. That's all there is to it. If you don't like what the board's doing, there's an election in November. Vote then.
Sue Pitt should come forward, and Milton. Well, we got. Hold on 1 minute, John. We've got, counting John, we've got about 10, 12, 13 more people. The board is having some conversation about whether to end at 10. There's about 13 more people on the list.
I think we have to be proud of ourselves for our demonstration of democracy in action and staying this late to hear the difference of opinions and presenting them respectfully. I'm John Comper. I live on Hammond Hill Road. I kind of believe that lawyers have a pattern of speaking carefully even when they appear to be speaking jovially. They don't use words loosely. And I remember that Mr. Krogh said at one point that above all else, you don't want to become involved in a lengthy court case. And it sort of went in one ear and it almost bounced out the other ear and it came back and said, oh my God, is the major criteria for what we are doing to avoid a legal court case. And several people, before any of the presentations were made, formal presentations were made, said that, you know, we really can't get involved in a court case. I've got to tell you that there are many other things that are far more important about fracking to me than avoiding a legal court case. For example, I live on Hammond Hill. It's the only reasonable access road to Hammond Hill State Forest. The DEC has proposed drilling in Shindago and Danby, released a draft generic state forest plan proposing drilling. The handwriting is on the wall. Accepting a ban on the town of Caoline, there will be drilling in Hammond Hill State Forest. There will be enough wells to require tens of thousands of truckloads of water going up and down, toxic organic compounds going up and down 24/7 hours a day. I won't be able to live in that house when there are trucks going up and down the road near my bedroom, and I couldn't sell the house because nobody would be stupid enough to buy it, and they couldn't get a mortgage from the bank anyway. So that I stand with slick rock hydraulic fracturing to lose all the value that I have put in my property. When I retired from Ithaca College, I was coordinator. 1 minute. Oh, no, wait a minute. Okay. The environment is very important to me. The health issues related to fracking are very important to me. And I think that these issues are far more important than, oh, we can't do anything that might lead us into a court case. That's one of the least of our considerations. And if we are looking at this proposal for the sake of avoiding the court case and sacrificing all the other environmental values that we have in this town for legal constraints, that is a really bad trade-off. I did want to mention one other environmental problem, which is factual, not an estimate. In the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science, published about a month ago, there's a study of groundwater contamination within 1 kilometer of wells in Pennsylvania. 60% of the wells had hazardous, actionable concentrations of methane within 1 kilometer of the new wells that have been drilled. If we have an estimated 6 wells per mile in the town of Caoline, every well in this town will be within 1 kilometer of an active drill site, and the experience in Pennsylvania is that 2/3 of those of drinking water wells will have methane in them, and 1/3 of the wells will have explodable concentrations of methane if they degas in an enclosed space. There are environmental concerns that we have just begun to learn about that we haven't considered that are far more important than the cost of a legal court case.
Cyrus Mater